What do you all think about the welfare system? When it makes the news, it's usually about fraudulent claims, but I really feel that it's necessary for people who are truly in need. I hope incidents like this never happen again.
That's what I'll be talking about this time. On February 1, 2006 in Fushimi Ward, Kyoto Prefecture, unemployed Yasuharu Katagiri was involved in the Kyoto Prefecture caregiver murder case, which took place on a riverbank in the early morning. The defendant's mother was suffering from dementia. He killed his mother and attempted a forced double suicide. He killed his mother. Afterwards, Katagiri attempted to commit suicide but was discovered by a passerby and his life was saved. Here are the details. Katagiri lived with his parents, the three of them together. He worked various jobs, including as a hotel security guard, manufacturing electrical appliances, and assembling system kitchens. In 1995, his father passed away, and his mother began showing signs of dementia. Katagiri cared for her alone, but by 2001, balancing work and caregiving became challenging, prompting them to move to a relative's apartment in Fushimi Ward. The rent was 60,000 yen, but they only paid half out of kindness. The apartment had a 4.5 and a 6 tatami room. Around April 2005, his mother's sleep schedule reversed. Her condition progressed to the point where she would eat the wrappers of rice balls and would often be taken into police custody at night. Since July, Katagiri has been using meal and daycare services, but the caregiving burden remains high, making work-life balance challenging. He resigned in September, earning 150,000 yen monthly until then. However, from around this time, he had to rely on his mother's bi-monthly pension of 50,000 yen. This became his way of life. In December, his unemployment benefits were stopped. Defendant Katagiri tried to find a suitable job but couldn't. He applied for welfare, hoping to receive it until his life stabilized, but was told, "You are still..." They told him it was because he was still able to work. Also, due to his unemployment benefits and other reasons, his application was not approved. He reached the 250,000 yen limit on his card loan, unable to pay for daycare or rent. Defendant Katagiri began eating once every 2 days, prioritizing his mother's meals. Even then, Katagiri, the defendant, didn't rely on relatives or friends. He believed he shouldn't trouble others, and that if it came to that, he should just cut back on his own life. He always kept his late father's words in his heart. However, it was impossible for this kind of life to last long. On January 31, 2006, he had to pay the 30,000 yen rent that day, but despite his efforts, he couldn't get the money. He only had 7,000 yen in cash. Without consulting anyone, Katagiri decided that the only path left for them was to die together. He cleaned the room thoroughly, leaving behind a will for his family. Along with his seal, Katagiri departed to have a final meal with his mother. They ate bread from a convenience store. He packed a rope and 2 knives into his backpack, put his mother in a wheelchair and left the apartment. They headed to a bustling downtown area with tiny rooms. Katagiri's mother wanted to go somewhere lively with many people. At 10 p.m. that night, they were at the riverbank where the incident would occur. As the date changed, in the early hours of February 1st, Katagiri covered his mother with a blanket to keep her warm. And finally, Katagiri, crying, spoke to his mother. "We have no more money. We can't go on living. This is the end." His mother stroked her sobbing son's head and replied, "I see, so it's really over. Yasuharu, I'm with you. Yasuharu, you're my child and I'll do it for you. Come here." Hearing these words, Katagiri said he decided that he couldn't rely on his mother until the end and that he had to do it himself. After covering his mother's body with a blanket, Katagiri, the defendant, used the knife he had to cut his own neck, arms and abdomen and attempted to hang himself. But he failed. Around 8 a.m. in the cold rain, the two were found. During the opening statement, Katagiri, the defendant, sat up straight, looked upward, his shoulders trembling, occasionally taking off his glasses to wipe away tears. It conveys just how painful it was to care for her devotedly and fall into poverty, and how there was no choice but to choose death. Katagiri, who took his mother's life, said he would want to be born as her child again. The defendant answered proudly, leaving Judge Azuma, his eyes red, at a loss for words. Even the prison officers blinked, trying to hold back tears. And then the verdict for the defendant Katagiri was announced. About 2 years and 6 months. A suspended sentence of 3 years was given, which is an unusual act of leniency for a murder case. It was not only the defendant who was being judged. Judge Higashi, who delivered the verdict, stated that the nursing care system and welfare provision are under serious scrutiny. He then addressed the defendant Katagiri. He said, "This was a tragic and sad case. From now on, you must live on and never blame yourself. Remember your mother, and for her sake as well, please live happily." A month later, Katagiri was in Gaken Prefecture. He lives alone in a 38-year-old apartment with a rent of 22,500 yen, surrounded by many people. He vowed to start his life over. He found a job, and on his days off, he would go mountain stream fishing, something he often did with his mother, showing a positive attitude toward life. However, when he talks about his mother, he never mentioned her. Something might have been weighing on his mind. And then, in 2013, 7 years after the incident, when Mr. Katagiri was 61 years old, he had been working hard, but due to the recession, the company he worked for, his contractor work was not renewed and he was forced to quit. He had about 300,000 yen in his bank account around spring 2014 when we lost contact with him. And then finally, August 1st. Miwako Ohashi jumped off the bridge and took her own life. In the waist pouch found with only a few hundred yen, there was a small note. She wrote, "I want my own and my mother's umbilical cords to be cremated together." The small box contained 2 umbilical cords. He continued to pay his apartment rent every month, without fail and without delay, up until the end of July. On August 1st, just like before, it's believed that Katagiri-san felt he had nowhere else to go and ended his own life. It's said that in the room he left behind, there were many fishing flies used for stream fishing. Was he recalling when his mother was healthy? Katagiri-san, who had vowed to live for his mother, committed suicide. This cannot be blamed on him and strongly reflects the distortions in our society. This incident must not be forgotten. Manga, dramas, and plays have been created about it. What we can do is to remember this incident, not repeat it, and use it as a lesson for the future. From now on, more than ever, I believe that each and every one of us, including myself, our thoughts and actions can change and move something. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time. See you in the next video. Bye bye.